Assessment in TY. When we consider assessment within TY, it is important to begin by asking ourselves the question, why do we have assessment? What is its purpose? It is also important to consider the mission statement of your setting. How does the approach to assessment you favour support your ethos and mission? Assessment should enhance the learning experience for the student and teacher. Clear guidelines, goals, and expectations are crucial when designing your approach to assessment so that these ideals may be achieved. Schools must have an overall plan for assessment, which should be published prior to the beginning of the year's TY programme, so that students, parents, guardians, and teachers have a clear understanding of expectations and boundaries. Assessment is at the heart of effective teaching and learning. The information gained from assessment is used to identify the learning needs of students and inform any adjustments needed for teaching methodologies and strategies. As we are told in the Department of Education guidelines for TY, assessment is an integral part of the teaching and learning process. It should be diagnostic, so as to provide accurate information with regard to pupil strengths and weaknesses, and formative, so as to facilitate improved pupil performance through effective programme planning and implementation. There are two interrelated and complementary approaches that may be used to support student achievement, namely assessment of learning, or summative assessment, and assessment for learning, or formative assessment. In order for these approaches to be successful, we must understand each type of assessment, create a balance between the forms of assessment used, engage with learning outcomes, and create associated success criteria, while focusing on giving effective feedback. When using summative assessments, it is important to have an agreed structure. Many use systems such as credits, rating scales, and percentages. The timing of such assessments should also be agreed, with most settings opting for a combination of ongoing, end of term, end of module, upon completion of a project or assignment, biannually, or at year end. Formative assessment is an integral part of the learning process, where information is shared with the learner. Information on the quality of learning is made available. The assessment is linked to the learning outcomes and success criteria, while looking towards the next stage of learning. There are a broad range of assessments that may be used within TY. Some of the most popular are portfolio, oral, project, and reflections. Each form may be used in both a formative and summative manner. Using portfolio assessment allows for a wide range of student work to be included, acknowledging all aspects of curriculum, and creates clear links to teaching and learning. It is important to include guidelines on specific areas required. It encourages students to engage in self-assessment and goal setting, while allowing for student difference. There is also opportunity to foster a collaborative approach by students and teacher towards assessment. There are a wide range of formats used for portfolio assessment, an example of which is to hold interviews either biannually or at the end of year. Some settings invite an external interviewing panel, which may need to be reconsidered in the current climate. If this approach is to be considered, it must be carried out while adhering to public health guidelines. Many schools choose an internal panel made up of the TY coordinator, members of the core team, and a member of the senior management team, while others assign teachers to interview when they would normally be teaching TY. In this case, students may only attend school for their timetabled interview slot. Clear guidelines and expectations are required to ensure a successful learning experience for students. It is useful to outline what and how students are expected to present. Many identify specific sections to be included, such as core subjects, subject sampling, TY specific subjects, and the number of pieces required. Each piece included should be one that the student feels reflects their progress. It is very important to use a marking scheme that is distributed to students, teachers, and interviewers, if applicable, prior to the interviews taking place. As the portfolio interview should be a celebration and showcase of all aspects of student learning, it should include marks for punctuality, personal presentation, presentation of pieces, presentation of accompanying logs or reflections on the work presented, along with an in-depth discussion or analysis of 2 or 3 of the presented pieces. The pieces may be presented digitally. Digital portfolios are a very useful tool when striving to engage students in a formative assessment cycle and feedback loop. A wide range of formats may be used. The very nature of digital portfolios allow both safe and easy access to the information assimilated by students and subsequent reflections by TY coordinators, the TY core team, and those interviewing the students. Portfolios may also be presented, subject to current public health guidelines, in hard copy, depending on the resources and facilities available to the school. Oral assessment refers to any assessment of student learning that is conducted by the spoken word. The most common forms of oral assessment are presentations, such as in-class presentation on a prepared topic, and the group project report to the class, or where the student is questioned by one or more examiners. Oral assessments have proven to be a very popular method of assessment for both students and teachers. The focus in oral assessment is to judge knowledge, understanding, problem solving, and other abilities. Oral assessment allows for flexibility and valuable insight to the depth and breadth of knowledge of the student. It's particularly useful for identifying outstanding candidates. It is very important that students articulate their ideas, expose their thinking to their peers and teachers through speaking and developing their ability and confidence to communicate in work-like environments. There are both advantages and disadvantages to oral assessment. Advantages include allowing probing of the depth and extent of student knowledge, reflecting the world of practice, improving the quality of student learning. An unclear or ambiguous question can be re-expressed or immediately clarified, and it guarantees the work is the student's own. Disadvantages include undue anxiety felt by the student, as it may be an unfamiliar form of assessment for them. Hearing or speech difficulties may impair the speaker or listener experience. Timetabling considerations, and it is possible to mistake a student's articulateness for knowledge. Some particularly useful oral assessment approaches include speeches where both the teacher and peer group use pre-agreed assessment forms to provide feedback. There are a number of exemplar speeches and advice for oral language assessment on the jct.ie website, which may be adapted for use in TY. An excellent example of a speech given by a TY student is Alex Kennedy's TED-Ed speech entitled Peel Off the Label. Presentations including the use of visual aids such as slides, debate, role play, interview, dialogue, question and answer sessions all provide useful opportunities for oral assessment. Projects are a traditionally popular form of assessment within TY programmes. They allow for a broad range of talent and ability. They may be done individually or in groups. TY students usually choose one of the following types of project. Research projects are commonly utilised and involve the student in deploying a wide variety of research and presentation skills as a topic or theme is explored. Design brief projects, which involve the student in either creating or co-creating a specific design brief, the success of which is measurable by a finished product, is an approach often used within enterprise classes. Action projects involve the student in some initial research and in turn prompt a response or action, which is measurable by an outcome, such as Young Social Innovator projects. Each type of project may benefit from collaboration between the teacher and student in co-creating both the assessment and marking scheme to be used, as this will further engage the students in the learning process. Group projects promote teamwork, problem solving and conflict resolution, all skills useful within the working world. It is very important to provide clear guidance when setting a project for assessment. Students should understand the purpose and learning goals of project work, the steps in putting a project together, and the criteria which will be used to assess the project. There should also be a clear timeline identified for completion of the project, whether it be 1 week, 1 term, or 1 academic year. Projects allow students to engage in a learning process that is guided by the teacher. Students learn by doing the choosing, planning, investigating, experimenting, and presentation. This allows the student to construct meaning and create authentic understanding as a result of the activities they engage with. Reflection has proven to be a powerful tool when progressing student learning, self-assessment, and teacher assessment of student engagement. Students are encouraged to become aware of their most effective learning strategies and identify the areas to which they may give more time and attention. Students may use their experience to identify what may be done in the next project or assignment to build upon and develop their skill set. It is about questioning in a positive way what a student does do and why they do it, and then deciding whether there is a better or more efficient way of doing it in the future. Self-awareness gives students the ability to understand their emotions, strengths, weaknesses, values, and goals, while recognizing their impact on others. Reflection assists students in developing self-regulation, which leads to the ability to control or redirect disruptive emotions and impulses while adapting to changing circumstances. There are a variety of options when designing reflective tools for use by students, whether pre-designed or bespoke to a particular school setting. A series of reflective questions, such as, what did I learn this week? Based on my learning this week, what are my goals for next week? Identify one thing you found positive in relation to TY this week. Why? Identify one thing you found challenging in relation to TY this week. Why? May be useful for weekly reflections. Additionally, reflection questions based on student experiences, such as activities, workshops, trips, and work experience, may be tailored to the process and outcomes sought. There are a variety of methods that may be used when devising an overall assessment plan for TY. Many schools use credit systems. There are some examples of these on the TY section of the PDST website. A number of elements, such as results from portfolio interviews, classwork, exam results, work experience reports, and reflections, and attendance, may be used with varying percentages attributed to each, depending on your school mission and ethos perspective. Many schools use their platforms such as VSware and ePortal to assist them in recording credits or percentages that are used towards an overall assessment result. An example is to use the application mark to identify a level of effort or achievement. For example, 10 means excellent engagement in class, all work submitted on time to a high standard, whereas 3 means serious concerns regarding lack of engagement, poor participation in class, etc. However you choose to record assessment, it is important that it is done in a clear and transparent manner.